All right, Brush Monkeys, welcome back. And this week and next, we're going to be doing something new. We're not going to be painting an individual figure. We're going to be batch painting a unit. In this case, we're going to be painting these Rune Wars Heavy Crossbowmen. These were sent to me by a fan off my Amazon wish list. And I thank you. I really appreciate you. Unfortunately, I've since lost the note as to who sent them, so I'm not entirely sure. But the previous video said who it was. It's not somebody on my normal friends list on Facebook, so I know it was a fan of Flying Monkey Studios. So again, I'm sorry I've forgotten your name, but it's been like 2 years since this was sent. But thank you again for sending this. This is deeply appreciated. Moving on, we got so this was the stuff that was in the box, and you saw this on my unboxing video last week. There's all the little cards and the tokens and stuff, and the instructions for putting it together, and the instructions include a little bit of the lore behind these guys. It's got a whole page of the lore, and they mentioned specifically two different units of crossbowmen, the Greystone Arbalists and the Red River Regulars. So I decided that's how I was going to do it, since they basically come in two units like this, and they can be fitted together like that to make one big unit. Their bases just kind of snap together. So you can have one big unit on its movement tray, or you can have two separate units. I chose to do it as two separate units, so I've had 4 crossbowmen of each unit. This week we're going to be doing the Greystone Arbalists, and next week we'll do the Red River Regulars. Keep wanting to say Regulators. Red River Regulars. These guys are going to put aside for that for next week, and this week we'll be focusing on these guys. Now the cool thing about these is, even though they come with the little movement tray, they're all easily removed from the movement tray. You just pop them right out. And then the movement tray can be painted separately, which is exactly what we're going to do. And in the case of these guys, I only have 3 of the Redgrass Games handle heads on my little box, so I'm breaking out a cork with sticky stuff for the 4th guy. But for those of you that haven't batch painted armies before, it is not terribly difficult or terribly different from painting an individual figure. You're just wasting a lot less time in between. So, for example, if you paint the skin on this guy, then you can put him aside, paint the skin on this guy. Well, then put him aside, paint the skin on the next guy, and so on and so forth. And then by the time you get to the last guy painting the skin, the first guy will be dry, and you can put the wash on. You put the wash on that guy, move along. Put the wash on the second guy, move along, so on and so forth. And usually, depending on the size of your unit, by the time you get to the end of the line, the first guy is ready for the next color, and so you can just keep going assembly line style like that. Do all the blues, all the grays, all the silvers, all the wood, all the what have you. And it goes together very quickly that way. And you're going to see that as I do this video, because that's how I'm going to do it. I've got Guilliman flesh set aside for these guys, but I don't think they've got a lot of skin showing. I really haven't taken a good close look at these guys. But I was thinking they had, like, face openings on the helmets, but now that I'm looking at them... Okay, a couple of them look like they do. Some of them look like they've got full head helms. But they've got just very little bit of skin on them. But we'll get to marking on these guys. The cool thing about the Greystone Arbalists is their armor is blue with silver trim, and their shields are chrome with that is designed to blind the enemy. So you can see it's got this kind of wood grain on it that's not going to be a big problem. We're going to paint the back as wood, but the face I'm going to paint with the Vallejo Model Air Color Chrome paint and just brush it on. And then I'll have, you know, steel trim around it. But I think that's going to look really, really fantastic when it's done. It's going to look, I'm hoping it's going to be really nice and bright on there. So that should be fun. Alright, sorry for that brief interruption. So I'm back and I've got the skin done on these guys. And like I said, not a whole lot showing. Just a little bit on the face openings of these guys. But you can kind of see what I was talking about, where you paint the skin and get all the way to the end, then you come back and you do the wash on them, and they're looking pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with how these guys are turning out. I think they're ready for the next step, so we're going to paint the fabric on them. Most of them got these little loincloths, boots, the gloves, that kind of thing. So we're going to paint that next, and then we'll come back and see how that looks. All right, see you soon. Bye. Alright, I'm back, and as you can see, we've got the blue fabric done. I did his gloves and boots in the same color. This was the Pro Acryl dark gray blue that I got as part of a blue triad in a asset drop box some time ago. But I think it looks really good. I've also decided, since there's a lot of scale armor, they're like wearing a scale shirt under their regular plate armor, because it shows under their armpits and around their waist and things like that. I'm going to do that scale armor with Elven armor, this metallic blue from the Army Painter. I think that's going to look really fantastic. I think it's going to stand out nicely from the flat blue and silver of the armor. So yeah, I think that's going to look really nice. I'm going to go ahead and let this, I just put the wash on the Pro Acryl blue, so I'm going to let that dry, and then we'll come back and do the scale armor, and then we'll see how that looks. So he's coming along, they're coming along. You can see I've done the same thing with the rest of them, so they're all looking pretty spiff. So I'll see you soon. Bye. Alright, Brush Monkeys, I'm back, and as you can see, I got the scale armor done and shade wash with the blue wash, and that looks pretty good. I really like how that turned out. I think that's going to look, it's a little hard to tell right now because the cloth is still kind of dark, and it's going to be, but the blue that I use on the armor, on the plate armor, is going to be this Reaper Ultramarine blue. It's really nice bright blue, and then it's going to be trimmed in shining silver with Reaper Crusader silver as a highlight, and I think that's going to make a big difference in how it looks. I mean, the gray armor still kind of looks kind of eh. All the straps on it, this quiver here, the belts, all that kind of thing, are all going to be snakebite leather. I think maybe I'll do the quiver in hardened leather just to stand it out from the straps around it. But otherwise it's going to pretty much be the same. The back of the shield, like I said, is going to be wildwood. I may go ahead and do the back of the shield now because it's not touching anything else that needs to wait until it dries. And again, that's the good thing about doing a unit like this is even though the wash is still dry, I can just paint something else and then come back to it. The back of the shield and the crossbow are all going to be wildwood. So I may go ahead and do them, and then we'll come back and see how that looks. Alright, see you soon. Bye. Alright, so now our crossbows are done and the backs of the shields are done. And I decided to go ahead and do the, I thought I saw a wood grain on the quiver there, so I went ahead and did the quivers with the wildwood too, and that's also going to help it stand out from the leather a little bit. And I did the fletchings in leather. If I can get my damn light out of the way, I've got this light that sits like right over my shoulder, and no matter where it is, it's in the wrong place. So, so yeah, I got that done. The arrows on the top of the crossbow are in wildwood as well. It was just easier to slop it all over the whole thing. That arrow shaft is actually going to be steel, along with the arrowhead and the prongs here. And there's some little bits on the sides of the crossbows that are going to be steel as well. But those will have to wait until I get around to that. For right now, that's looking pretty good. I think I'm probably going to go ahead and do the faces of the shield next. Because again, that's not touching anything that's waiting to dry. So I might as well get that done. And then we'll come back and see how they look. Alright, I'll see you soon. Bye. Alright, so I got the faces of the shields done, and they look pretty good. That chrome's pretty nice. It does show up the wood grain on the face of the shield a little bit more than I would have liked. But I think what I'm probably going to do is give it a couple of coats of the chrome paint, and I think that will self-level out and smooth that out. Because I really do want it to look like a mirror. If that doesn't work, I will try a very thin wash of white glue over the top of it and then chrome, and see if that doesn't smooth it out. But yeah, it's coming along. It's coming along. I'm digging it. So we'll come back in a little bit and see how that works, and see you then. Bye. Alright, I'm back, and I had painted the faces of the shields with the Vallejo chrome, and it looked okay. It definitely did accent the wood grain on the front of the shields, and I didn't like that because it was supposed to be reflective in order to blind your opponent and that kind of thing. So I wanted it to be a flat mirror. So I took a little bit of white glue and painted it on the shield, and then painted the chrome over that when that dried. And since white glue is kind of self-leveling, I think you can still see a little bit of the wood grain on there, but it's not as bad. And this one was particularly thin. You can see it better in some of the other shields. That's a much more uniform appearance for the front of the shield. And then I painted the chrome over that, and so, you know, certain angles you can still kind of see a wood grain, but for the most part it's just flat chrome and reflective, which is really nice. So pretty happy with how that turned out. The rim of the shield and this little boss in the center are all going to be blackened steel, so they'll be a little darker. They'll be about the same kind of steel that I'm going to use on the arrow and bolt here. So yeah, these guys are coming along. Not too bad. I'm liking how they're turning out. I think the white glue did a decent job of leveling that out a little bit. The chrome is still wet, so I'm going to let that dry, and then we'll come back and start in on the... I think the armor is about the only part of these guys we still have to do, besides the crossbow bolt and the leather. So yeah, it's coming along pretty nicely. And they look really spiff so far. I really like how they're turning out. So, a little break for the chrome, then we'll come back and paint the armor. See you soon. Bye. Alright, so now we have all that lovely blue armor done. Excuse me. And I think it looks really fantastic. So all that's left to do now is... excuse me. I actually got quite a lot left to do. So I got all the silver to do on all that armor trim. Got the steels to do on the bolts and the prongs of the crossbow, and a couple little bits here and there on the crossbows. The shield rims. Got the leathers to do on all the straps and belts and what have you. And I've got, I decided to use this Pro Acryl Faded Ultramarine for the fletchings there, and the one on the bow, just to make them stand out a little bit. They're not really, they don't really have a whole lot of color and personality by themselves, so I'm going to paint those fletchings and help them stand out a little bit while still fitting the overall scheme of the army. I think it's going to look really nice. So I'm going to go do that real quick, and then I'll do the silver, and then we'll come back and see how they look. All right? See you soon. Bye. Okay, we got all the steel trim done on the, or all the silver trim done on the armor. And it's looking pretty spiffy. I really like how it's turning out. So up next we're going to do the steel on the crossbow bolts and prongs and the rim of the shield. It's going to be black and steel from Reaper. And it'll be a little darker, and I think it'll set off that chrome that I used on the face of the shield really nicely, and be a nice contrast to the brighter silver. So I'm going to go ahead and go do that, and then we'll come back and take a look at it, and then we'll do all the leather straps. All right, see you soon. Bye. Alright, more progress on our guys. We got the shield done with the black and steel. And it's looking considerably darker on camera than it does in person. I mean, it just doesn't look that dark in person. But it's looking pretty good. So up next we got all the leather straps. I'm going to base them in well, I say Wraithbone, but it's really just kind of a homebrew mix of sand and off-white, and it creates the same color as Wraithbone, so that's what I'm going to use. So I'm going to do that, and then go over with the snakebite leather and the hardened leather on the lip of the quiver here. And I think that's going to look really spiff, and then it'll wrap it up for these guys. Well, the basing. So I got to do the basing. But I'll go do the leather, and then we'll come back and see how it looks, and then we'll go from there. All right. See you soon. Bye. Alright, I am back, and our guys are looking really good. I've got the leathers done on them. Leather straps look really spiffy. Snakebite leather is one of those few leather colors, one of the few Citadel contrast paints, I should say, that I don't plan on replacing with the Army Painter equivalent. The Army Painter hardened leather is a good leather color, but it's kind of a reddish brown. This one's more of a kind of a yellowish brown when it's really thin. You can see the kind of yellow tone to it. And I like having both as options. I think they're both realistic leather colors. I think it's nice to have, if you've got like a leather belt with a leather pouch hanging off it, to do the belt in one and the pouch in the other, and it helps to differentiate them. I really like having that. So I'll probably keep the snakebite leather around, even when I run out, I'll go buy more. It's one of the few Citadel colors I actually really like. But that's going to be it for our guys themselves. Now we just got the basing to do. And for the basing, I'm going to use Cygor Brown. It's another Citadel contrast paint. I'm going to brush it all around there, and then I'm going to dry brush it with Sylvaneth Bark. And then we're going to go through and do add some Snow Flock from the Army Painter Battlefields and some Tundra Tufts from the Army Painter. I'm almost out of those, so I'm going to get all those. But those will go on both the figure and the base itself. Now the key to painting the movement tray is we're going to leave these little sections in here alone. I know they got primed, that there's no way around that. But I went through and scraped out the inside edges of these so they'll all fit in there neatly. And all we're going to do is do this top surface here, and maybe a tuft in the corner in between them, you know, that kind of thing, here and there. But it's not going to be a whole thing. Ooh, excuse me. And because they're meant to be fitted together, I have primed the sides, the edges, but I have not, I'm not going to paint them because, like I said, they're meant to snap together with other units, and so that would kind of rub off that paint after a while, so I'm not going to bother with that. But we're going to do the top surface here and all of their little bases, and then I think the next time you see these guys, they're going to be completely done. So I will see you soon. Bye. Alright, Brush Monkeys, there is our finished Greystone Arbalists crossbowmen for Rune Wars. I think these guys turned out really well. I really like how they look. And there they are in their custom movement base. You see, like I said, I didn't do the sides of the base, so they'll snap in with other units, or they could just be used on their own. But pretty happy with how they turned out. They look really good as a unit. And as you can see by following these methods of batch painting, it didn't take that much longer to paint 4 of them than it took to paint one guy. So it's just a lot less time wasted waiting for one layer to dry in between figures. You know, while something's drying, you'll be moving on to the next figure and doing that. So I'm pretty happy with this. I'm calling it done. And we'll move on to the Red River regulars next week. Thanks for watching, and I will see you then. Bye. Hey Breast Monkeys, Tom here. If you like what you see, click like down below, and if you want to be notified when new videos get posted, click subscribe. And in the meantime, if you want to support us in any way, check me out on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. We're on all those platforms. If you see a miniature on the site that you want to make one of your own, hit me up on Instagram. I can quote you a price for that. And if you want any Flying Monkey Studios merchandise, like t-shirts, things like that, hit me up on storefrontier.com/flyingmonkeystudios and get all your merch there. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.